Population, distribution, density, growth and composition. The people are very important component of a country. India is the second most populous country after China in the world with its total population of 1210 million according to 2011 census. India's population is larger than the total population of North America, South America and Australia put together. More often, it is argued that such a large population invariably puts pressure on its limited resources and is also responsible for many socio-economic problems in the country. In this chapter, we will discuss the patterns of distribution, density, growth and composition of India's population. Sources of population data. Population data are collected through census operation held every 10 years in our country. The first population census in India was conducted in 1872. But its first complete census was conducted only in 1881. Next is distribution of population. Spatial distribution of population. It is clear that India has a highly uneven patterns of population distribution. The percentage shares of population of the states and union territories in the country show that Uttar Pradesh has the highest population, followed by Maharashtra, Bihar and West Bengal. UP, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh along with Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Karnataka and Gujarat together account for about 76% of the total population of the country. On the other hand, share of population is very small in the states like Jammu and Kashmir, that is 1.04%, Arunachal Pradesh 0.11% and Uttarakhand, that is 0.84%. In spite of these states having fairly large geographical area. Such an uneven spatial distribution of population in India suggests a close relationship between population and physical, socio-economic and historical factors. As far as the physical factors are concerned, it is clear that climate along with terrain and availability of water largely determines the pattern of the population distribution. Consequently, we observe that the North Indian plains, deltas and coastal plains have higher proportion of population than the interior districts of southern and central Indian states. Himalayas, some of the northeastern and western states. However, development of irrigation in Rajasthan and availability of mineral and energy resources in Jharkhand and development of transport network like in peninsular states have resulted in moderate to high concentration of population in areas which were previously very thinly populated. Among the socio-economic and historical factors of distribution of population, important ones are evolution of settled agriculture and agricultural development, pattern of human settlement, development of transport network, industrialization and urbanization. It is observed that the regions falling in the river plains and coastal areas of India have remained the regions of larger population concentration. Even though the uses of natural resources like land and water in these regions have shown the sign of degradation. The concentration of population remain high because of an early history of human settlement and development of transport network. On the other hand, the urban regions of Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bengaluru, Pune, Ahmedabad, Chennai and Jaipur have a high concentration of population due to industrial development and urbanization, drawing a large numbers of rural urban migrants. Density of population. Density of population is expressed as number of persons per unit area. It helps in getting a better understanding of the spatial distribution of population in relation to land. The density of population in India is 382 persons per square kilometer. There has been a steady increase or more than 200% per square kilometer over the last 50 years as the density of population increased for 117 persons per square kilometer in 1951 to 382 persons per square kilometer in 2011. This data give an idea of spatial variation of population densities in which in the country, which ranges from as low as 17 persons per square kilometer in Arunachal Pradesh to 11,297 persons in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. Among the northern Indian states, Bihar total population distribution is 1102, West Bengal 1029 and Uttar Pradesh that is 828 have higher densities, while Kerala that is 859 and Tamil Nadu 555 have higher densities among the peninsular Indian states. States like Assam, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand, Orissa have moderate densities. The hill states of the Himalayan region and the northeastern states of India, excluding Assam, have relatively low densities, while the union territories of Andaman and Nicobar Island have very high densities of each and every union territories excluding Andaman and Nicobar Island have very high densities of population. The density of population, as discussed, is a crude measure of human and land relationship. To get a better insight into the human land ratio in terms of pressure of population on total cultivable land, the physiological and the agricultural densities should be found out, which are significant for a country like India having a large agricultural population. So, what is physiological density? It is total population divided by net cultivated area. And what is agricultural density? That is total agricultural population divided by net cultivated area. Agricultural population includes cultivators and agricultural laborers and their family members too. So, next point is growth of population. Growth of population is the change in number of people living in a particular area between 2 points of time. Its rate is expressed in percentage. Population growth has two components, that is natural growth and induced growth. While the natural growth is analyzed by assessing the crude birth and death rates, the induced components are explained by the volume of inward and outward movement of people in any given area. However, in this chapter, we will only discuss the natural growth of India's population. The decadal and annual growth rates of population are both very high and steadily increasing over time. The annual growth rate of Indian population is 1.64%. What is population doubling time? Population doubling time is the time taken by any population to double itself at its current annual growth rate. The growth rate of population in India over the last 1 century has been caused by annual birth rate and death rate and rate of migration, and thereby shows different trends. There are 4 distinct phases of growth identified within this period. Phase 1. The period from 1901 to 1921 is referred to as the period of stagnant or stationary phase of growth of India's population. Since in this period growth rate was very low, even recording a negative growth rate during 1911 to 1921. Both the birth rate and death rate were high, keeping the rate of increase low. Poor health and medical services, illiteracy of people at large, and inefficient distribution system of food and other basic necessities were largely responsible for a high birth and death rates in this period. Next is phase 2. The decades from 1921 to 1951 are referred to as the period of steady population growth. An overall improvement in health and sanitation throughout the country brought down the mortality rate. At the same time, better transport and communication system improved the distribution system. The crude birth rate remained high in this period, leading to higher growth rate than the previous phase. This is impressive at the backdrop of Great Economic Depression in 1920s and World War II. Next is phase 3. The decades from 1951 to 1981 are referred to as the period of population explosion in India, which was caused by a rapid fall in the mortality rate but a high fertility rate of population in the country. The average annual growth rate was as high as 2.2%. It is in this period after the independence that developmental activities were introduced through a centralized planning process, and economy started showing up, ensuring the improvement of living condition of people at large. Consequently, there was a high natural increase and higher growth rate. Besides, increased international migration, bringing in the Tibetan, Bangladeshis, Nepalis, and even people from Pakistan contributed to high growth rate. In the post-1981 till present, the growth rate of country's population though remained high, has started showing down gradually. A downward trend of crude birth rate is held responsible for such a population growth. This was in turn affected by an increase in the mean age at marriage, improved quality of life, particularly education of females in the country. The growth rate of population is, however, still high in the country, and it has been projected by the World Development Report that the population of India will touch 1350 million by 2025. The analysis done so far shows the average growth rate, But the country also had wide variation in growth rates from one area to another. Next is regional variation in population growth. The growth rate of population during 1991 to 2001 in Indian states and union territories shows very obvious pattern. The states like Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Puducherry and Goa show a low rate of growth, not exceeding 20% over the decade. Kerala registered the lowest growth rate, that is 9.4, not only in the group of states but also in the country as a whole. A continuous build of states from west to east in the northwest, north and north central parts of the country has relatively high growth rate than the southern states. It is in this belt comprising Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh, Sikkim, Assam, West Bengal, Bihar, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, the growth rate on average was remained 20 to 25%. During 2001 to 2011, the growth rates of almost all states and union territories have registered a lower figure compared to the previous decade, that is 1991 to 2001. The percentage decadal growth rates of the 6 most populous states, namely Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, have all fallen during 2001 to 2011 compared to 1991 to 2001. The fall being the lowest for Andhra Pradesh, that is 3.5%, and highest for Maharashtra, that is 6.7%. Tamil Nadu 3.9% points and Puducherry 7.1% points have registered some increase during 2001 to 2011 over the previous decade. An important aspect of population growth in India is the growth of its adolescents. At present, the share of adolescents is up to age of from 10 to 19 years is about 20.9%, among which male adolescents constitute 52.7% and female adolescents constitute 47.3%. The adolescents population, though regarded as the youthful population having high potentials, but at the same time they are quite vulnerable if not guided and channelized properly. There are many challenges for the society as far as these adolescents are concerned, some of which a lower age at marriage, illiteracy, particularly female illiteracy, school dropouts, low intake of nutrients, high rate of maternal mortality of adolescent mothers, high rate of HIV and AIDS infections, physical and mental disability or retardedness, drug abuse and alcoholism, juvenile delinquency and committance of crimes, etc. In view of this, the government of India has undertaken certain policies to impart proper education to the adolescent groups so that their talents are better channelized and properly utilized. The National Youth Policy is one example which has been designed to look into the overall development of our large youth and adolescent population. The National Youth Policy in the year 2014 launched in February 2014, proposes a holistic vision for the youth of India, which is to empower the youth of the country to achieve their full potential and through them enable India to find its rightful place in the community of nations. The National Youth Policy 2014 has defined youth as person in the age group of 15 to 29 years. The Government of India also formulated the National Policy for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship in 2015 to provide an umbrella framework to all skilling activities being carried out within the country, and to align these to common standards and link skilling with demand centers. It appears from the above discussion that the growth rate of population is widely variant over space and time in the country, and also highlights various social problems related to the growth of population. However, in order to have a better insight into the growth pattern of population, it is also necessary to look into the social composition of the population. Next point is population composition. Population composition is a distinct field of study within population geography, with a vast coverage of analysis of age and sex, place of residence, ethnic characteristics, tribes, language, religion, marital status, literacy and education. Occupational characteristics. In this section, the composition with respect to their rural-urban characteristics, language, religion and pattern of occupation will be discussed. Rural-urban composition. Composition of population by their respective places of residence is an important indicator of social and economic characteristics. This becomes even more significant for a country where 68.8% of its total population lives in village. Do you know that India has 6,40,867 villages according to the census 2011, out of which 5,97,608, that is 93.2%, are inhabited in villages. However, the distribution of rural population is not uniform throughout the country. You might have noted that the states like Bihar and Sikkim have very high percentage of rural population. The states of Goa and Maharashtra have only little over half of their total population residing in villages. The union territories, on the other hand, have a smaller proportion of rural population except Dadra and Nagar Haveli, that is 53.38%. The size of villages also varies considerably. It is less than 200% in the hill states of northeastern India, western Rajasthan and run of Kutch, as high as 17,000% in the states of Kerala and in parts of Maharashtra. A thorough examination of the pattern of distribution of rural population of India reveals that both at intrastate and interstate levels, the relative You have noted that the contrary to rural population, the proportion of urban population is 31.16% in India is quite low, but it is showing a much faster rate of growth over the decades. The growth rate of urban population has accelerated due to enhanced economic development and improvement in health and hygiene conditions. The distribution of urban population too, as in the case of total population, has a wide variation throughout the country. It is, however, noticed that in almost all the states and union territories, there has been a considerable increase of urban population. This indicates both development of urban areas in terms of socio-economic conditions and an increased rate of rural-urban migration. The rural-urban migration is conspicuous in the case of urban areas along the main road links and the railroads in the North Indian plains. The industrial areas around Kolkata, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Mysuru, Madurai, Coimbatore, Ahmedabad, Surat, Delhi, Kanpur, Ludhiana, Jalandhar. In the agriculturally stagnant parts of the middle and lower Ganga plains, Telangana, non-irrigated western Rajasthan, remote hilly tribal areas of northeast, along the flood-prone areas of peninsular India, and along eastern part of Madhya Pradesh, the degree of urbanization has remained low. Linguistic composition. India is a land of linguistic composition. India is a land of linguistic diversity. According to Grierson, that is Grierson Linguistic Survey, India from 1903 to 1928, there were 179 languages and as many as 544 dialects in the country. In the context of modern India, there are about 22 scheduled languages and a number of non-scheduled languages. Among these scheduled languages, the speakers of Hindi have highest percentage. The smallest language groups are Sanskrit, Bodo, Manipuri speakers. However, it is noticed that the linguistic region in the country do not have a sharp and distinct boundary. Rather, they gradually merge and overlap in their respective frontier zones. Linguistic classification. The speakers of major Indian languages belong to 4 language families, which have their subfamilies and branches. Next point is religious composition. Religion is one of the most dominant forces affecting the cultural and political life of the majority of Indians. Since religion virtually permeates into almost all the aspects of people's family and community lives, it is important to study the religious composition in detail. Next is classification of modern Indian languages. Ostric family, that the percentage is 1.38%, and the subfamily Austroasiatic and Austronesian. Branch or groups are Mon Khmer and Munda. Speech areas are Meghalayas, Nicobar Islands, West Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, Assam, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and outside India. Next is Dravidian, that is 20%. Branches are South Dravidian, Central Dravidian, North Dravidian. South Dravidian Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala. Central Dravidian, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Maharashtra. North Dravidian, Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh. Sino-Tibetan, that is Kirata, 0.85%. That is the sub-families are Tibeto-Myanmari and Siamese Chinese. Tibeto-Myanmari, it is under the branch or group of Tibeto-Himalayan, and the speech areas are Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim. North Assam, the speech areas of North Assam is Arunachal Pradesh. Next branch is Assam Myanmari. The speech areas of Assam Myanmari branch or group is Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura and Meghalaya. Next family is Indo-European, that is highest percentage 73%. Sub-family is Indo-Aryan. The branches are Iranian, that is outside India, Dardic, that founds in Jammu and Kashmir, and Indo-Aryan, Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal, Assam, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa. The spatial distribution of religious communities show that there are certain states and districts having large numerical strength of one religion, while the same may be negligibly represented in other states. Hindus are distributed as a major group in many states, ranging from 70 to 90% and above, except the districts of states along a Indo-Bangladesh border, Indo-Pak border, Jammu and Kashmir, hill states of northeast, and in scattered areas of Deccan Plateau and Ganga Plain. Total percentage of Hindu population is 79.8%, Muslims 14.2%, Christians 2.3%, Sikhs 1.7%, Buddhists 0.7% and Jains 0.4%. Muslim, the largest religious minority, are concentrated in Jammu and Kashmir, certain districts of West Bengal and Kerala, many districts of Uttar Pradesh, in and around Delhi and in Lakshadweep. They form majority in Kashmir Valley and Lakshadweep. Religion and landscape. Formal expression of religions on landscape is manifested through sacred structures, use of symmetries and assemblages of plants and animals, groves of trees for religious purposes. Sacred structures are widely distributed throughout the country. These may range from inconspicuous village shrines to large Hindu temples, monumental masjids, or ornately designed cathedrals in large metropolitan cities. These temples, masjids, gurudwaras, monasteries, and churches differ in size, form, space, use, and density, while attributing a special dimension to the total landscape of the area. The Christian population is distributed mostly in rural areas of the country. The main concentration is observed along the western coast around the Goa, Kerala, and also in the hill states of Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Chotanagpur area and hills of Manipur. Sikhs are mostly concentrated in relatively small area of the country, particularly in the states of Punjab, Haryana and Delhi. Jains and Buddhists, the smallest religious groups in India, have their concentration only in selected areas of the country. Jains have major concentration in the urban areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat and Maharashtra, while the Buddhists are concentrated mostly in Maharashtra. The other states of Buddhist majority are Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh in Jammu and Kashmir, Tripura, Lahul and Spiti in Himachal Pradesh. The other religions of India include Zoroastrian, tribal and other indigenous faiths and beliefs. These groups are concentrated in small pockets scattered throughout the country. Composition of working population. The population of India, according to their economic status, is divided into three groups: main workers, marginal workers, and non-workers. It is observed that in India, the proportion of workers, both main and marginal, is only 39.8%, leaving a vast majority, about 60%, as non-workers. This indicates an economic status in which there is a larger proportion of dependent population, further indicating possible existence of large number of unemployed or underemployed people. Standard census definition. Main workers is a person who works for at least 183 days or 6 months in a year. Marginal worker is a person who works for less than 183 days in a year. What is work participation rate? The proportion of working population of the states and union territories show a moderate variation, about 39.6% in Goa, about 49.9% in Daman and Diu. The states with larger percentage of workers are Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Meghalaya. Among the union territories, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu have higher participation rate. It is understood that in the context of a country like India, the work participation rate tends to be higher in the areas of lower levels of economic development, since number of manual workers are needed to perform the subsistence or near subsistence economic activities. The occupational composition of India's population, which actually means occupational composition means engagement of an individual in farming, manufacturing, trade, services or any kind of professional activities, show a large proportion of primary sector workers compared to secondary and tertiary sectors. About 54.6% of total working population are cultivators and agricultural laborers, whereas only 3.8% of workers are engaged in household industries, and 41.6% are other workers, including non-household industries, trade, commerce, construction and repair and other services. As far as the occupation of country's male and female population is concerned, male workers outnumber female workers in all the three sectors. Next is promoting gender sensitivity through Beti Bachao Beti Padhao social campaign. The division of society into male, female and transgender is believed to be natural and biological. But in reality, there are social constructs and roles assigned to individuals which are reinforced by social institutions. Consequently, these biological differences become the basis of social differences, discriminations and exclusions. The exclusion over half of the population becomes a serious handicap to any developing and civilized society. It is a global challenge. It is a global challenge which has been acknowledged by the UNDP. It is a global challenge which has been acknowledged by the UNDP when it mentioned that if development is not engendered, it is endangered. HDR or Human Development Report, UNDP 1995. Discrimination in general and gender discrimination in particular is a crime against humanity. All efforts need to be made to address the denial of opportunities of education, employment, political representation, low wages for similar types of work, disregard to their entitlement to live a dignified life. A society which fails to acknowledge and take effective measures to remove such discriminations cannot be treated a civilized one. The Government of India has duly acknowledged the adverse impacts of this discrimination and launched a nationwide campaign called Beti Bachao Beti Padhao. The number of female workers is relatively high in primary sector. Though in recent years there has been some improvement in work participation of women in secondary and tertiary sectors. It is important to note that the proportion of workers in agricultural sector has shown a decline over the last few decades from 58% to 54%. Consequently, the participation rate in secondary and tertiary sector has registered an increase. This indicates a shift of dependence of workers from farm-based occupations to non-farm-based ones, indicating a sectoral shift in the economy of the country. The spatial variation of work participation rate in different sectors in the country is very wide. For instance, the states like Himachal Pradesh and Nagaland have very large shares of cultivators. On the other hand, states like Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Jharkhand, West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh have higher proportion of agricultural laborers. The highly urbanized areas like Delhi, Chandigarh and Puducherry have a very large proportion of workers being engaged in other services. This indicates not only availability of limited farming land but also large-scale urbanization and industrialization requiring more workers in non-farm sectors. There are some occupational categories. Census have divided the working population of India into 4 major categories, that is cultivators, agricultural laborers, household industrial workers and other workers. So thank you. This is for today.